Hi, I'm Andy Lubon, and I'm here to talk about my presentation, Written Language in a Digital Era, How is Language Changing? A Case Study Through the Lens of Facebook. It's kind of fitting that I would follow Lauren as we both use Facebook, but just some quick background facts on Facebook. It was founded in 2004. In its first 5 years, it grew to over 100 million users, and as Lauren pointed out, the majority of those are overseas. However, in America, the study from Desuniga and Valenzuela suggests that 1 in 3 Americans are now on Facebook, and these statistics come from 2008. So since then, these figures have only expanded. And this is just a graph of the gender breakdown of Facebook and the age groups. So it's predominantly through the ages of 18 through 49, so an emerging generation. The driving forces of my study come mostly from Tagliamonte and Dennis, so I focused mainly on the one-to-one and one-to-many synchronous forms of computer-mediated communication. On the one-to-one, I'm thinking specifically of the Facebook chat, and on the one-to-many, I'm thinking of Facebook posts, which are available to anyone who has access to the page. And then the other two driving forces come from Carolyn Miller and Amy Devitt. So the quote from Carolyn Miller, which funds the majority of my research, was, "Exigence must be seen neither as a cause of rhetorical action nor as intention, but as social motive." And also that the quote from Amy J. Devitt, that shifts in language will require releasing old notions of genre as form and text type, and embracing new notions of genre as dynamic patterning of human experience. So where I depart from Tagliamonte and Dennis is that I'm using Facebook, whereas they use texting, so it's a different medium, although the results are a little bit similar. And then Carolyn Miller and Amy Devitt are providing the academic backing for my. So I'm going to talk about two terms specifically: the stream of consciousness and efficiency, in respect to the post that we'll be analyzing. So just briefly to define what stream of consciousness is, as from the dictionary.com, it refers to the continuous flow of ideas, thoughts, and feelings forming from the content of an individual's consciousness. And then efficiency, I'm using to refer to the ratio of the effective or useful output to the total input in any system. And this studies specifically how individuals use language in order to most effectively and efficiently communicate their ideas. And all of this is evidenced through the Facebook posts and the use of non-standard punctuation, such as exclamation points, emoticons, lack of standard spelling, and punctuation. So the way I organized my corpus, I used a top-down approach. The idea came to me just through observing Facebook before Dr. Arl had assigned us this linguistic study. So I went through that approach, and I tried to find and maintain a corpus that would support the movement of language towards a more stream of consciousness-based approach, and as a more efficient use of language users' use of language. Of this corpus, 257 Facebook posts were analyzed from 53 specific posters. 1,565 words, emoticons, and symbols were examined. And then the way I demographically set up the corpus was I used students, upper-class students from top 25 ranked universities. And I used this approach in order to try to collectivize the study and to assure that students had been in a specific university for at least 2 years in order to them to respond to a specific social exigence, as Mila had suggested, of that university. And the time range that these Facebook posts were collected was from the 2011 and 2012 academic school year. Okay, so I'm just going to, for the sake of time, I'm going to use two specific Facebook posts from my corpus. And this post from a student at the University of Virginia is read, "The positive energy is flowing. Beautiful day for a beautiful day." So as you can see, non-standard punctuation is used, two different clauses and phrases, and I'm arguing that this is suggesting that language is shifting towards a more stream of consciousness-based approach, where standard punctuation is not necessarily the driving factor, but as Lauren said, easier that individuals are, when they look on Facebook, they want just bits of information, they want quick responses, and something they can take away without having to read long posts or specific things like that. And also the idea of efficiency, that an individual can post this on Facebook and it doesn't take a lot of time. It's an efficient use of representing their thoughts at that time. And this is another example that we use. Another student from the University of Virginia has a similar approach, and it's just his post is a response to a basketball game, so a social situation. And I want you to note that there's not only that people are liking his responses, but also the method and the way in which they respond. So he's kind of, the poster, in this case a student named Thunder Jumper, has created a specific rhetorical situation, and in that he's kind of opened the doors for people to respond in the same form of rhetorical situation. So they're using the same stream of consciousness that I explained earlier, and they're responding in that same method. And also the efficiency with which the posts and the response occur. It's not very well thought out or well organized, but it's very information dense, and it gets the message across efficiently and effectively. So why is this irrelevant? I'm arguing that although my corpus is relatively small, it may offer insights into the way language is moving in response to specific social exigence, as Galen stated, and the idea that that language users use language to most efficiently and effectively communicate their aims. So I want to argue that the current social exigence requires a demand of specific and brief bullets of information, and Facebook as a medium is a good representation of these demands. Also, I wanted to note that the use of this form of approach to language is an effective and efficient way of using one's own ideas and not conforming to specific hierarchies of language use. It notes that they respond to a rhetorical situation in a method that efficiently gets those ideas across and more closely reflects this stream of consciousness which we previously discussed. So in conclusion, I wanted to state that although my corpus is relatively limited, I think it does shed some brief insights into the way that language is using. Even the PowerPoint, the way I organized my information was in response to this specific rhetorical situation. I didn't use long fluid sentences, but I used specific, what I would like to consider a stream of consciousness thoughts in order to just convey the bullets of this presentation, which I want you to take away from this. And I think that this presentation shows, although the corpus is small, it shows the way language is shifting in response to this specific rhetorical situation, albeit it's only through one medium of the vast digitally mediated communication which we discussed this semester. So thank you.